Hello, this is TikTok and welcome to beatbox.guru. This time I'll be talking to Sean Palmer, an actor, an extreme vocalist and a choir director from Manchester, UK. And Sean is gonna tell me about how he's dealing with stage fright, as well as different methods of conducting an experimental choir. So enjoy this beautiful knowledge and let me know what you think in the comments section below. Take care.
Okay, my name is Sean Palmer. I'd like to welcome you to my underground lair. It really is underground. And in this place, this is where I do most of my composition, most of my work, most of my training, and where I meet with my choir.
Okay, fantastic. So, please tell me about your choir and the general thing that you're creating here.
Okay, so for the last 4 years, we've been meeting and creating pieces which are based on, it might be a cover version of something else, of another performance, another song, or we'll be working on completely new material which has been born in the minds of the people in the choir. We use different forms of vocalization, so we'll be singing, we'll be speaking, we'll be dictating, we'll be beatboxing, we'll be singing with different styles, so opera, form, meaning a more classical style, or we'll be going for something that's a bit more poppy. We are interested in different forms of harmony, so we'll be looking at more folk forms, or we'll be going for, again, classic tritones. And so it's a very, very varied choir. It's a very varied form of music which we create.
Okay, fantastic. How did you come up with this idea for an experimental choir?
Also, the experimental choir came around from around 5 years ago. I was working with a composer from Wales called Simon Thorne. He's an experimental jazz composer, and he created a piece called Neanderthal. You can find it on the internet. And Neanderthal was a piece for 4 vocalists with no words at all. It lasted 1 hour, and it was to tell the story of the species of Neanderthal from the beginning to the end, to the plight of their species. ¿Cómo está? So it was a vocal experiment without any other instruments, and it was split up into 4 solos with other duets appearing during it. But the most important thing about this project for me was the fact that the manuscript was written in a completely graphic way. There were no notes. There was no time signature. You didn't know the tempo. You just had to sing. And you had to sing in relation to the people around you and in relation to a monitor which was on stage and showing visual, sort of an abstract visual representation of the history of the Neanderthals. Again, without faces, it was abstract. It was rock, fur, blood, water, something like this.
Okay. Wow.
So
it seems really powerful.
it was pretty scary. I think probably more scary for us at the beginning, because when we got on stage for the first time, we really had to believe that what we were about to sing, create vocally, was going to have an impact and had a story. But it wasn't actually clear for us that it was going to work. It was only afterwards, when we saw that the audience were crying at the end, that we realized that sounds such as which kind of was part of the piece, they carry meaning, they carry sense, and connected with a very strong visual presence, because there was a huge projection of that which we saw on the monitor behind us. This connection between the visual and the audio had a profound impact upon members of the audience. And it really started me thinking, okay, so if we can create such an impact, or have such an impact on an audience in this way, without words, without telling a story one to one, it's possible to do this in different ways. It's possible to create music which doesn't necessarily need to be music. It can be something else. You can be reading something else. You can be reading lines. You can be reading lines of architecture. You can be reading the lines of someone's face. And you will have, automatically, by the fact you're producing vocal sound and vocal energy, you have a story, and you have some kind of dynamic which the audience, the listener, creates for themselves. So the choir evolved from trying to sing architecture.
How about performance-wise? Because oftentimes beatboxers just stand there and focus on their technique just to get their 400 BPM tempo on, and then
yeah, man.
And then
yeah.
They don't totally focus on the contact with the audience.
Yeah.
And what could you tell these guys to work on, or to check out to improve their stage performance?
Yeah. Remember that you are a human being. Remember that your audience is human beings. Remember you have a one-to-one contact with these people. Remember that they want to hear you. Remember that it's you are, as soon as you get on stage, okay, this is about kind of more theatrical theory, but I think it's really important for you you guys out there, to get on it, right? The stage is a place where people look. When they look there, they see characters. They see drama. They see performance. They see costumes. And they create a story. Even if there is no story, they will create a story. You go on stage, you become a performer. You become not only a performer, you also become a character. And I think it's really important to embrace that as part of your performance. You have to know what type of character you're going to be. Are you going to be the bad motherfucker? Or are you going to be the sunny guy who's there just having fun? Are you going to be like the person who opens the audience? Or are you going to be the person that holds it down, just gives a hard rock performance? But you have to keep your contact with the audience the whole time. It doesn't matter if you are this guy or if you're this guy, but you have to have contact. That's the number one rule. Audiences want to know that you're human, and they want to know what you can do, and they want to be with you. They want to experience that with you. So go out there, take the energy that take the fear. I think that's maybe the best idea. Take the fear which has been building up before the performance, and turn it into an energy which you throw at the audience. incorporate them into your performance. If you use regular calls, you know, what up, you know, whatever you're going to use, get there and ask them for response. Give them energy, ask them for energy back. Don't look at your shoes.
Yeah, that was actually my next question. How do you deal with stage fright, and what are your advice on how to deal with it, how to use it in your show? Because it doesn't really go away with experience that much.
No way, no way. Oh shit. Okay, I'm going to tell you something now, which I learned about 6 or 7 years ago. I also work as an actor, and I have to do castings sometimes. Excuse me. When you go into that room, or when you step onto the stage, you have to be 100% certain that you are the man or the woman, yeah, of the moment. Me. Look at me. I'm the guy. I got the shit. You won. Okay. Look at me. The one thing that always scared me was that everyone's cool apart from that guy. Oh shit, that guy in the audience or that person on the panel, I'm terrified of that person. And it starts to eat away inside of you, and you start to doubt yourself, you start to feel weaker, your abilities sort of disappear, or you start to lose focus. The one thing I will tell you is this: if you find that you are opposite someone who scares you, you say to that person in your head, okay? You say to that person in your head, fuck you. If you are in front of an audience which is scaring you, you look at the whole audience. You say, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm here to do my shit and you're gonna like it. So fuck you. And seriously, maybe you're gonna have to edit out those fuck yous, but it works. It works so well, really. There is another way, which I learned at theatre school, which is a little less offensive. And that's if you're in the audience and you feel, again, this pressure building. Anyone who's been on stage understands this. There's kind of this feeling that, oh no, I'm losing control. I'm losing control. And that's only because you feel scared of the pressure, the expectations of the audience. You look at the audience and imagine them completely naked. Imagine that fat woman or that guy there, that skinny guy, or completely naked. And you know that you've got them. Ha. Got you. Got you. You don't scare me anymore. That's my two things for you guys. That's the naked thing and the fuck you. But it works. It really works.
So how did you end up in Poland?
During my time in Cardiff, I created a theatre company, a physical theatre company called Equaled Out. And in this, we started touring around the world. We did Mexico, we did across Europe. And in the end, by fate, we got an invitation to play our performance at the Malta International Festival here in Poland. And that was in 2007. We came, we took part in the competition called Debut, and we won. And this was an amazing thing for us. We thought, okay, well that means that possibly what we're making in Britain is good enough to come back to Poland. Having spent a lot of time here in Poland, I realized that Polish audiences are critical, are heavily critical. They don't watch something for the joy of watching something. They watch it to learn something, and if it doesn't teach them something, it's rubbish. Or if it's not on such a high skill-based level, it's rubbish. You know, there's no sort of halfways here. It's either good or bad. So I began my theatrical career or ladder or experimentation here in Poland from 2008 onwards. Also delving into music, singing with various groups, and experimenting a lot.
The sign, my pen has got rhyme. Think.
Someone has the someone walking on the someone would kill himself worrying my book. Someone has the someone walking on the someone would kill himself worrying my book. Someone is on the worrying my then someone
Vocally, I was more interested in jazz and sort of free-form funk music, and then, of course, beatbox is something else which just supported everything that was going on at that time for me. Sort of rhythmically, that's where I get a lot of inspiration from listening to others, then going away and creating that form for myself. And then when I go back out, I have those rhythms set inside me, not to perform beatbox, but actually just to use it as a tool within what I'm doing. So I'm not a classic beatboxer. I don't go on stage and beatbox. I use it as a tool.
So, who were your first inspirations when it comes to beatboxing? Can you name drop some names?
Yeah, man. I remember when I was 8 or 9, maybe 10, I was listening to the radio at night, Radio 1, and there I think it was Heavy D. Heavy D was on the radio, and he showed this beatbox, because in England at that time it was a little bit unknown, let's put it, and I just could imagine his lips, and it was fantastic. It sounded so visceral, and yet he had this beat behind it, and it intoxicated me at that moment. I have to say that I was that young that my parents wouldn't let me listen to the radio at that time at night, so it was dark. I was under the bed, the bed covers, and listening to this. I was like, oh wow, that is it. And I just started going for hip hop.
What ways do you use? What methods do you use to practice these extreme vocals with your choir?
There are certain exercises which I will try and get them to practice with. There's something which I learned some 5 or 6 years ago. It's called the tree, and it's about exploring the deepest note that you can find, and it's about exploring the highest note that you can find. This is an exercise which encourages the person to push beyond their limits. Push not in a physical sense, because this is the worst thing you can do when you're working with vocals, is push, because you're going to break something. The idea is, when pushing, is that you're conscious of what you're doing. So you're looking for new avenues to expand your abilities consciously. So if we're doing the tree exercise, we're doing the tree exercise, you start from a comfortable mid-tone note, which for me would be and then you'll just raise the tone of the note. And you will try and cross through as many different registers as you can. Sometimes you might find 2, sometimes you might find 3. It really depends on the person and on the day, So if I'll show this, so I'm a little bit dry today, but hey. So you're going from your chest voice, and then you're moving into your throat, and then you're moving into your falsetto voice. There is a third, or a fourth, in fact, chamber at the top called the whistle voice. I don't think I didn't get there today, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get there today. But this is eventually where we're trying to achieve. That's our goal, is to get to this voice, which is it's supersonic. Let's put it like that. It's a fantastic thing. Then going down, it's something similar. So you're looking for different colors and tones within that. So you're looking for, so you go to that, this vocal fry. You could then go to, go into this sort of deep, I call it the stupid monster voice. You can find different places to position that voice to get a similar tone, but, sorry, a similar note, but a different tone, a different color. And in this way, you can explore, as a group, you can explore different ways of representing a song or a sound or I don't know, something that you're interested in creating. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, and how do you divide the choir to achieve you know, the instrumentation of different sounds in a song?
Okay, I go for a very classic divide because simply it's easier. So I have my basses, I have my tenors, I then have my alts, I have my mezzo-sopranos and my sopranos. Of course, these voices change position during a performance or in a song. So you're not going to find that all of the basses are going to be singing bass the whole time. There might be one. There might be a transition between tenor and bass. There might be a transition between tenor and countertenor. If you have someone who's particularly good in their falsetto voice. Again, with alts and mezzo-soprano, this is a slippery place, you know. And then again between mezzo-soprano and soprano. So you have people who are jumping spaces the whole time.
What is your way of communication with the choir? What gestures do you use, or what other methods of conducting the choir do you use?
Okay, when it comes to conducting, I'm not a trained conductor, that's obvious, but there are certain gestures which are really key for us, and they've evolved over time. If I'm looking for, we do a lot of improvisation and a lot of public improvisation, so gestures are very important, so I don't have to speak to the choir during the improvisation. So in general, if we have sing, say this is to open somebody, go, this is to close, stop. We then have the dividing of the choir, so I can turn off sections or a single person. So I might do one gesture which then closes half the choir. If we're looking at the development of a piece during the improvisation, I might ask people to join. So this would be unison. If I give them two fingers like this will then find harmony. So these two voices have to harmonize. There is, for beatbox.
Okay, drumming.
Yeah, obviously. For singing, it would be this. Yeah. For speaking, it would be like this. So, yeah, certain gestures, very, very clear, and also the key part of being a conductor is having absolute contact with every single person in the choir, almost at the same time. It's impossible to have it at the same time, but you make sure that everybody is watching you at all times. So even if I know that this is the case, and I know that I can hear what's going to happen in the next 4 bars or the next 8 bars, a big change, then one most important gesture is that, which is look at me, be ready, because something crazy is going to happen. Okay?